Hi, I'm Lee Hendrick from Knoxville, Tennessee. I taught in the College of Business at the University of Tennessee for 20 years, and the last 2 years I've been a caretaker for elderly parents and trading in the Forex market. The first year I was doing day trading, and for the last 10 months or so, I've been scalping. Oh, yes, I took a lot of issues with the assumptions that were built in to the model. And a lot of that is because of my background in doing and programming models and such. You know, I've known Armando, and I'd actually been to South Beach for training a year earlier, so I had been exposed to it. Just wasn't doing the scalping, and had been listening to Armando in the mornings in the trade room for many months, and so the trust was there. I knew, and this happens often with Armando and me, because we think differently. Mm-hmm. And I'll know what Armando is saying is true. I just won't understand why it's true at the time. But as I played with the micro profit Excel spreadsheet, I had come in with a preconceived hope that I could make 15% a month. And I knew that that was outrageously ambitious, but it was still a hope. That the spreadsheet had assumptions built in that were going beyond that, but yet doing it with such small number of pips. And I had to really look at it and see that, you know, each trade was for a full position, full load position, and understand how I was able to do it. But I still had severe reservations about if it was going to work for me.
Right.
Because I don't go in on every trade with a full position. And was not a scalper, or hadn't been up to that point. I'd been demoing, I suppose, from November to February, and trying to come down the learning curve somewhat, but not seeing huge increases at the end of each month at all. I was, you know, breaking even was doing pretty good. So yeah, but I talked a long time that last afternoon with Armando about the system, and finally just said, well, I'll go do it. You know, I'm going to do what you tell me to do, and give it a chance and see how it works out. My account at the time in February was around 18,000 for my day trading.
Right.
And so I set up a demo at 18,000 because I was comfortable with that level, and went from there. And I remember the first week I had like $124, and I was like, you know, that's pretty bad. But you know, then the next week it was more like 500 or 600, and then after that I was making more like what my goals were.
The 15%.
The 15%. Now I was demoing. This was all so new to me that I was doing the morning thing, but then on some days I would have afternoons free, and it was just fascinating to learn by continuing to watch, even though the market slows up. so I spent more time. I didn't get a lot of afternoon trades. And even in the evening, if there was nothing going on and I sit down but nothing else is happening, you know, I would get into and just see what's going on in Asia. But from the end of February to the end of May, I suppose, my account went from 18,000 up to maybe 28,000. I'd stopped the day trading. I was just applying the scalping principles that Armando talks about. And I will say that it took time for me to get over some of my day trading habits.
Oh yeah, of course.
And you know, two of the key elements that I have learned to embrace very firmly over time are get the stop loss in and never over leverage. Be very conservative with leveraging. In those first few months, it was hard to give up old habits, but certain and I mean, I wish I could say I have given them up for good, but even in this last month, I entered into a scalping trade and then immediately forgot all of my rules and had a bad outcome. So I started live mid-June with 25,000 and continued as I had done with the demo account, meeting at least my monthly goals, but oftentimes exceeding them to 25% one month, over 25% one month. So as long as I follow the rules, I do real well. It's when I lapse that I have a bad outcome. Improving, I'm getting better and better, and it's certainly coming for this refresher this week. Has been a breath of fresh air and kind of set me back to firmly embrace those principles again, because I don't know diddly squat. Even before I was doing scalping, I was in the trading room listening to Armando because he would talk about the different countries and different currencies and what was going on, applying that to the market. And he saw, to look through Armando's eyes at what's happening in the market with currency pairings, bringing in what's happening with gold, bringing in what's happening with oil and the stock market. All of those were things that were not intuitive to me sitting down to do Forex. So a lot of wisdom and information and knowledge just on a daily basis, warning, perhaps not to go into a sell on a certain currency, or try to go only with buys for a while. But now that I'm doing scalping and have, it's like the more you do it and get into it, the more questions you have, because you run into more situations and you get one level of information kind of internalized, and you do it kind of second nature. But then there's these other things that Armando mentioned. You say, well, I wonder why he said that. Now, what motivated him to say that? There's got to be a reason. And then, at some point, when the market is a little quieter, he may talk about that. Or we have a seminar in Miami, and I can come with my list of questions I've been accumulating and get extended answers to those questions.